enlightening, inspirational, powerfully refining, and unapologetically controversial. Conversations with the Royal Empress. The entire world knows the secret of who you are. Now is the time to step into your queendom and become the Royal Empress that you're meant to be. One woman at a time. Conversations with the Royal Empress. Now Akila, she's the analytical Empress. Akima, she's the Empress that will challenge you. Now, straighten up your crown and be elevated through conversations. Conversations with the Royal Empress.
Welcome back to Conversations with the Royal Empress. This is Dr. Hakima, and joining me is my sister from another mother, my kindred spirit, and my co-host of Royal Empress, Sister Keela. Also joining us is a very special co-host, Donna L. Smith. Let me tell you about this sister. I've known this sister all my life. Donna is a mother, a daughter, a sister, a world traveler, and now an author. She is CEO of Vorself LLC, and she is an ICF certified life coach with a focus on coaching young girls and women by coaching them on the topics of accountability, personal development, team building. Donna has a passion for healing by listening and guiding one through self-discovery. How you doing today, Donna?
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. Today, family, we're going to talk about a very serious topic, and it's kind of touchy too. But the topic of the day is the need for life coaching, mentoring in the Black community. All right, family, we're going to talk about the need for life coaching / mentoring in the Black community. So the first question I want to throw out to you, family, is what is life coaching or mentoring, and why do women need it? And what's the difference between the two?
I'll go first.
We'll give you the floor.
Life coaching, mentoring they're really in the same family. So life coaching is basically getting someone to discover themselves, because whatever problem we have, we all have the answer to. So if we have the problem, if we create the problem, we also have the answer. So when you coach, you try to lead them and guide people to their own epiphany and finding the answer to their issues without you telling them the answer, or without you putting your 2 cents in. Mentoring is the same way, but you can give a little more advice. Mentoring requires or has advice, or let you give advice to people. Life coach is not so much advice, it's guiding them to find their own answers.
So I find that, and I know in the past I've had mentors, and I find that many of my mentors were either people that I met in a certain career path. So their mentoring or the guidance that they gave me was therefore customized for that particular environment or purpose. Mm-hmm. And the mentor relationship could end once you decide to take a different path in life. But what I've learned about a life coach is, no matter where the curve of life goes, that life coach can go with you. You understand what I'm saying? Like I had a mentor when I worked in banking, but when I left banking, it's like, okay, yeah, we could have continued the relationship. However, the whole purpose or the foundation of that relationship was based on that career path. So when I left that career path, I found that difficult to maintain those relationships with people that was in that particular field. And I'm just using career mentoring as an example. There's different type of mentoring, but I've noticed just from my own personal experience that it was limited. But I would say from people that have become my big sisters or big mamas or somebody that's visiting like a mom or auntie, their role has been more of a life coaching type thing. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? Have you all shared the same experience or something different? What?
Well, it's like you said, mentoring is very specific a lot of times. It's in the same family, but it's very specific mentoring, and you pinpoint certain things that the person needs, and I find that I have a life coach. I also, and she is also my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And life coaches have life coaches. So it's just somebody that will listen to you, somebody that will um, give you advice. She can give me advice because she's a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
She's in that field. So, but most of the time, she guides me into, she asks me the right questions to guide me into where I want to be, and what I want to do and why I do certain things, and makes me have, like I said, she makes me have the epiphanies that I need to guide others.
Now you mentioned a relationship with this life coach. Is she the inspiration of behind why you chose to become a life coach yourself?
No, my inspiration was from a doctor, Dr. Rosenbaum, and he's from Johns Hopkins University, and he's a psychologist, and I trained under him, and he was my life coach, not my psychologist, because he mentioned that a lot of people, a lot of professional people have coaches, and that are and want to train to be a coach because it's a very different field. And Dr. Rosenbaum convinced me that I would be a good life coach, so I kept studying under him for about 7 months, and that was my inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew in my other job, we say something called jump seat therapy.
Mm.
And so I was always good at jump seat therapy. So so it kind of led me to that conclusion that I would be good at this. So when I studied under Dr. Rosenbaum, he also convinced me and, let me know that I would be good at not mentoring, I'm sorry, life coaching.
Now I have a question because you said jump seat therapy, and that's totally an airline term. So can you explain to us what exactly jump seat therapy is?
Well, I've been a flight attendant as well for 33 years, almost 34 years.
I'm
And
a former flight attendant.
Oh, you are?
That's why I asked that.
But yeah, people will tell you their whole life story
at that jump seat.
Yep. At that jump seat. And you may never see those people again, or you won't see them for a couple of months, or they'll change bases, but that all the intimate details of their life. Yes. And you sit and you give them, guidance, advice, or whatever, and some of them love you for it. And next time they see you, if you haven't told all their business and put it out in the street, they talk to you again. So I had many years of that, and I was always a person that they wanted to talk to. And I don't know why, I would check my back to see if there was something on my back that said, talk to me, but I was always that person that they decided to talk to.
That's amazing. And it's funny because I completely know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Just as soon as you said that, because see, I didn't read that in the bio.
That on the DL. That was on the DL.
Right. As soon as you said jump seat, I'm like, hold up.
Oh, that is too funny. I'm like, I heard of barbershop therapy, I heard of nail salon therapy, but I ain't never heard of no jump seat therapy. I love it. So I guess next time I get on a plane, I need to be trying to make a relationship so I can spill all my my guts out.
And passengers will do that too. They
Yes.
will, and tell you all their business as well, because they feel like, well, I'll never see this person again. I don't really know her. And people that, strangers tend to talk more than, your family.
Yes.
They tend to tell you everything. So I learned a lot from my passengers as well as my colleagues.
It's a lot of lessons, and I think one of the things about that particular career is that you meet people from all cultures, all walks of life, and you hear some of everything. And plus,
things you don't want to hear.
Right. Trust me, I've heard some things. We'll talk about that off the air. But
I'm about to say, like what?
Yeah, I know, right?
I can tell you stories.
Girl, why do you think people are gravitating towards life coaching?
I think people just need to be heard and need to be validated and need to, get some guidance in their life, some kind of guidance, because this world is eating us alive. After COVID especially, it's very difficult for a lot of people during COVID because their whole lifestyle changed. And some people didn't deal with that very well. And so they just need people to listen and not necessarily help them sometimes. I find that some of my clients, they just want to talk. They just want to listen. They want you to listen to them, and you throw in what you know and coach them as well as you can, but they just want you to listen. And we all need that, because there's a chapter in my book called Take Off the Mask and Breathe, because we are always putting on a mask. If, for the airline, I got to smile. For meetings, I've got to sit up straight and, have my diction properly, said properly. I've got different faces that I have to put on, and some people wear them longer than others, and the ones that wear them too long are the ones that really need for people to listen and let go, so to speak. Yeah.
Now, I know that there are various forms of coaching. I've actually had a coach before, but mine was more of a business coach.
Okay.
But even with that, there's still a level of accountability. And I know that that's what you mentioned about one of the main focuses too is about accountability and helping people to be accountable. Can we just talk about that accountability piece?
Yeah, and it's specific, it's a specific type of coaching. It's you have an accountability coach, and I will ask my clients, do you want me to hold you accountable for this goal that you want to achieve? And, and if they say yes, then I will definitely hold them accountable, and I will follow up and talk to them about what they did that day, show them methods of how to get to that goal, no matter how small of a task that you do daily, but to get to that goal. And then I will follow up and call them and talk to them and say, hey, what did you do today to reach that goal? And it's so important because we will have a lot of ideas and goals and things that we want to do, but we never follow through on a lot of them. And if there's someone there to hold you accountable, without judgment, then it really helps people. And that's where I come in. I hold them accountable, but I don't judge how they did it. Just tell me, give me a list of where you want to start. It doesn't matter how small it is, how small the first task or the second task is, but do it, and don't overwhelm yourself.
I have a question too, because in your book, Barefoot in a Box, you go into some very personal and intimate experiences that it's hard to put your life out there in public like that. But you you went into some deep deep experiences. And so my question to you, how important it is when you're dealing with your clients to be able to be comfortable to share intimate details about yourself and your own personal struggles?
Well, I let them take the time that they need to come out with those personal things. I don't want to push anybody to, delve into their past and give me personal details about their past. And they normally, because I have that kind of personality, they normally just come out with it and they start telling me things, and I have to differentiate, life coaching and therapy and psychology and psychiatry and that type of thing, because, I have to stay in my lane. As much advice as I like to give them, sometimes I can't, because of the rules of the profession. So I listen and I let them just voice whatever they want to say. And the best part about it is I never, ever, ever judge them. Never. And that's what they need, and no matter what it is, I get it all, I don't judge them.
So how impactful is it for you to share your own personal experiences when you're dealing with your clients? For me, I mean, when I deal with people and I use my own personal experiences, it seems to be more impactful when I'm dealing with someone on that level. Mm-hmm. How impactful is it for you when you're sharing your own personal experience, your own personal struggles that you've overcome with your clients?
Well, it helps in some situations. I have to pick and choose who I would like to share things with. It depends on their situation and what they're going through. But, I wrote that book for me. And it was my therapy in hopes that it would help others who have gone through the same thing that I have gone through or have thought like I have thought. But it was more my own personal therapy. So if I could share that with any of my clients, and I don't have a problem with it, but now 10 years ago, I might have had a problem with that because I looked at life a little bit differently. And now, I'm happy to tell you what I went through. I don't have a problem with that because I'm good, and I'm past it. And it's a lot of self-healing going on, and so if that helps somebody, yeah, I'm 100% willing.
I love the title of your book. What inspired that?
Well, I recently got a divorce a year ago. And so I was going through a lot of changes emotionally and things like that. And, oh, should I leave? Should I not? I need to think about this. This person won't be happy. This person won't be happy. And I had been doing that for years. And I had to do it for me. So where Barefoot in a Box came out is, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, you've been talking about this for years now. Sometimes you just have to leave and take action, even if it's walking out the door barefooted with one box. And that was the title of my book. And it's true, take action, just do it, because you're gonna have an excuse for everything and anything. You'll make yourself believe you shouldn't do something easy. And sometimes you just have to do it and work the details out later.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
You know what? You started out your book talking about comparing your life to a maze. Now, share with your listeners the inspiration behind that. Go ahead, sis.
Well, I was running into walls, and every I would take a left and there was something there that stopped me. I would take a right, it was something there that stopped me, and I couldn't find my way out. I couldn't discover how to get out of the pain and the feelings that I had. And that's when I came up with, it's like a maze, because I'm like a little rat that I'm just trying to find that way out. And I kept hitting the wall, and we all hit the wall so many times. And we eventually, if you just meditate, calm down, you will get out. And that I found my way out. And that's where the maze comes from.
Now, what do you say to, our listeners who feel like they're in a maze and really don't know how to get out? What message could you give them to help them get out of that maze?
Just stop, be in the present, and meditate. Meditation is very important to me. And I think it works. Once you learn how to meditate, once you get into that realm of, impossibility to some, but once you get into that meditation phase of your mind, it's healing, and it really, really works. So just stop and breathe and think about yourself and put yourself first, because you don't put yourself first. As mothers, you're always doing something for the kids, or the husband, the friends, and never, and a lot of us never take time for us. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people will call you selfish, or you should be home taking care of your kids, or and your kids might be 40 years old. Okay, he ain't no kid no more, but some mothers mother their children until they're 30, 40, 50 years old, or until they pass this earth. So take some time for yourself and meditate.
What is it that you want to share with us about your journey and what people need to know about you? Like, what do you have to add to
One phrase. It's okay not to be okay. That's what I'm trying to let people know. No one is perfect. Even the ones that look perfect, no one. And as with the jump seat therapy, I found that out real quick. Oh my God, I didn't know you was like that. But it's okay not to be okay. Embrace your flaws, embrace who you are, and don't let people judge you and convince you that you're not something. You are who you are, and embrace that.
You sought a life coach yourself. So you've already told us about your relationship with your life coach. Mm-hmm. What made you go in that direction?
My sister circle.
So that tribe. We always speak about tribe.
Fabulous sister circle.
Oh, I met the sister circle yesterday.
No, not that sister circle.
Not that sister circle. Okay.
But that's another sister circle.
Oh, that's another sister circle.
But I have a fabulous sister circle of a couple of years old, older than me, most of them. And then we also have a couple of young ones in the group. And they are accomplished and beautiful African-American women. And they just made me feel comfortable and let me know that they're not okay either. And all the accomplishments that they have made, there are times when they're not okay either. We've had tears, we've had everything. And one of the ladies in there is Dory. Her name is Dory C. Scott. And she's been through it all. And she's a therapist, and she's a communications expert, and she does many, I can't even name the 20 things that she does, and she's fabulous. And she just started sharing things with me. And when I found out that she was a coach, I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to see how this goes, because I need a coach too, and she has helped me tremendously in seeing things differently, with a different perspective.
Now, one of my questions is this, like, there are women who are at this crossroad in their life, may not know when they need to have some type of coaching or mentoring. How does a woman get to a point where she says, this is the moment that I need. I know I need to reach out and get assistance from someone else, guidance from someone else. At what point for a woman when she can recognize that this is when I need to move forward and get me a life coach or a mentor?
When your health is affected,
Okay.
because this affects our health. Keeping all this stuff inside and keeping, ourselves, closed in, it affects our health. So that could be a time when she has to say, well, let me get some help somehow. And a lot of people can't really afford some, therapists and psychologists and things like that. So life coach kind of comes in handy to where at least they can vent their frustrations and talk to people who may have been through what you have been through. And so the health, I think, is one big thing, because you'll see your health deteriorate when you are troubled.
Yeah, I would certainly say that I don't think that everything rises to the level of needing a therapist. Because sometimes for me, I think it's just a matter of being stuck.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, even if it's not my health, but if you're stuck, you don't necessarily have to go to a therapist because you're stuck. Right. And maybe procrastinating and just can't get that task list together, where you can't move. I mean, I don't know, because what are the reasons that your clients are coming to you?
I'm real easy to talk to.
Right.
So the marketing helps, but I'm a real easy person to talk to, and I make people feel comfortable. And so they might talk to me at a different occasion or something like that. And they find out I'm a life coach, and then they say, oh, well, let me call her and see what this is about. And it just happens.
I could contest to that, for the listening audience. This is my big cousin, Donna. This we call her Big Donna in the family. And majority of my life, when I've had issues, especially in my teen life, when I was a young teen, going up to my older teens, when I had issues or serious issues, guess who I used to reach out to, right, Donna? And I had so many questions. I remember that point of my breakthrough of Islam, and you gave me the greatest advice. I don't know if you remember, and you were listening to me, and you said, go with your heart, make your prayer, and after that, listen for the answer and go with your heart. Because I was so torn with, well, but my mama gonna say this, or my grandma gonna say this, and you was like, regardless of all that.
And I said, what do you say?
There you go, and you put it right back on me, and it freed me of, why am I trying to make a decision based on someone else, my mom or my grandma, or what they're gonna think? That was it seemed like such a simple statement. You was like, go with your heart, do what you want to do, not what everybody else wants you to do. And I ain't looked back.
I did whatever I wanted to do. and a lot of people to this day is like,
No, but I mean, I share that to say you were excellent listener. Like, I think I might have went on and on and on for a while, and then you didn't do much talking. You just let me listen. Mm-hmm. And at the end, you was like, what do you want to do though? And it just I felt so good. So I just want to share with the audience of when you talked about earlier in your bio, we talked about earlier in your bio, you talking about your passion for listening and help guiding someone on that self-discovery. I'm the original client. That's what I'm an original client. I go back to that because that helped me. That was the building block for me to say, I got to do things for me. I can't do things for other people. And this is before you even put the label on yourself. You was already doing it. I just had to throw that out there. Now, I have another question too, because that was really pretty much a statement. What are some of the characteristics that someone would need if they just want to be a life coach, or if they want to be a mentor to someone? Because everybody out there ain't mentor qualified or life coach qualified. You have some people out there giving the wrong advice. But I just want to know from your perspective, what does someone need to really go out there and say, I'm going to be a life coach and I'm ready. I'm ready to start that journey.
Unfortunately, I'll say this, they don't require any credentials for a basic life coach, but that just wasn't right to me. You know, I wanted to learn more and learn the right way, and you know, because it's all you know, confidential, and I wanted to learn those rules and you know, be sharp on what I was doing. And they're going to start probably within the next 6 months to a year to acquire certain credentials, because anybody could go out there and, you know, and I call it fake coaches, you know.
Fake coaches.
Right, but they don't want to take the time to do the learning and do the work required. It's not required, but that's needed to be an effective life coach. So somebody who's ready to learn, you know, and wanting to really get into their craft the right way, instead of just going out there to get a hustle on or make a little money here and there. You know, it's more to it than that. I'm doing it to help people and to really guide people in the right direction.
So what should those looking for a life coach look for when they select one?
That's a good question.
Okay. The listening skills is one big one, because some coaches, you know, they wanted to talk the most and show people, you know, that they're valid and talk too much. And those are the ones that haven't really had any training, you know, and they just want to give advice. And you know, you can't do that as a credentialed life coach, you know. So look for someone who will genuinely listen to you, and you know, and you can tell, you can feel vibes. Like right now, if I was coaching you, you know, if I'm doing, you know, oh, let me do this, okay, oh, what did you say, you know, and not really paying attention to you, you can tell immediately. So find somebody that will really listen to you and validate who you are, you know, by listening to you. So that's the biggest one, is someone who can listen effectively.
You belong to the IFC. How, do you feel like that designation is something that they should look for?
Yeah, I do, but
Okay.
like I said, it's not required, but I think that definitely is something that they should look for, you know. And you know, it goes different levels, you know, it goes all the way to master life coach, and you know, and there's a lot of hours that are included in that training, and that's what I am working toward, that is to be a master life coach. Yeah, so yeah, you look for someone with that IFC credential.
You know, life coaching has become such a buzzword in social media. So, and everywhere I look, I know I see all these life coaches and I see all these different people giving advice. And I know in our community, our women are all over the place. Our women are suffering, so there is a great need for it. What are your thoughts on those people who are out there giving advice in social media? And one in particular I want to mention is Kevin Samuels. What are your thoughts on people like that, like him and others?
They're doing them, you know. I don't even think about that, because I'm going to do me, you know. Like I also team coach, or team building and group coach. So I was saying yesterday to my audience that I volunteer for a women's shelter or women's center. And these are abused women that really are dealing with mental issues. And so with the group coaching with them, you know, I can let them know that I'm not judging you, you're valid, you know, and they need a lot of attention and help with their, you know, their life choices, because we make bad choices sometimes, and in their situation, they made choices that put them in that shelter. And so it's okay. I let them know it's okay. We're gonna get through this. And that's all volunteer. I don't, charge anything for that. So I enjoy doing that. I enjoy, helping women who can't help themselves.
Mm. Now, what type of life coaching do you see black women needing in the community? Anything in particular, just from your perspective or your vantage point, what specifically do you think or you find that you're coaching black women on the most?
Accountability.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Don't just tell me you're gonna do something. I'm gonna make you do it. Oh well, I want to do this. I said, and I'll ask, do you really? Tell me why, show me how.
Mm,
Show me how you want to do this. What's your plan? Do you
mm,
have a plan? You have to ask the right questions. So accountability. Let's get you there. If you really want to do this, let's get you there. So
mm.
I do enjoy that the most because I have quite the strong personality. So I like to boss people around sometimes.
Anything else besides accountability?
Relationship coaching,
Mhm.
that's needed because women make choices because they don't want to be alone. They, want a companion. They need somebody to be in charge, and that's definitely needed. Relationship coaching. How are you going to handle your relationship? Are you doing this for him or her, or are you doing it for yourself? So you have to ask those questions. And we make some real bad choices in relationships, and we don't see things that somebody else might be able to see. So I might see something that they can't see because they're, like when they say love is blind, it is. It really is. Lust is blind too.
Okay, I heard that one. But you're right, lust is blind. All right, now, if listeners, you know what time it is. It's time for our challenges, and we got some good ones today. I'm gonna challenge you today, sisters. What you need to do when you are in a situation and you feel like in a maze, just like Donna said in the beginning of the book, life would be like a maze. Stop and be in the present. So often we trying to deal with the problem at the end. Stop and be in the present. Stop and breathe.
Mhm.
Also, it's important for us to meditate. We don't like to meditate, and meditating is just stop and thinking, cutting the TV off, putting the cell phone down, and not listening to anybody else, but just meditating. A friend of mine told me that prayer is for asking, meditation is for listening. So learn to meditate. Another thing you need to do is to put yourself first. Thank you, Donna, so eloquently putting that. Like you told me when I was a teenager, put yourself first. Listen to you. Do what you want to do, not what somebody else wants you to do. Another thing, listeners, it's okay to not be okay. We need to stop putting on this front like everything is all right. Everything is not okay, and you know it's not okay, but it's okay for things not to be okay. That's the first stage to making changes, when you can acknowledge that everything is not okay. When do you need a life coach? It's when your health is affected. If your problems are affecting your health, it's time to get a life coach, family. When you need to vent, and there's no one logical to vent to, someone who's not going to judge you, it's time to get you a life coach. The next thing is when you feel stuck and no one can really give you the information and knowledge that you need, the guidance that you need to be unstuck, that when it is time for you to get you a life coach, that's when it's time to call Donna. That's what it's all about. Now, what characteristics does a person need to be a life coach? You got to be somebody that's willing to learn. As you teach, as you guide, you learn. You learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about others. But you got to be ready to learn. You got to be a great listener, because if you ain't listening, how are you going to help your client? You also got to work on building your craft. So many of us have a story to tell, as we talked about yesterday at your book signing event, the importance of telling your story. Everyone has a story. Donna has told hers, go get the book, Barefoot and a Box, so that you can hear Donna Smith's story. Next, listening. Always be listening, family. Not only should you be listening to your own self, but also listening to others. We have got to be open to coaching, family. The reason why we're in a situation that we're in is because we don't want to seek any type of outside guidance. We want to talk to God and we want him to give us an answer, but we don't realize that he gives us an answer through people. So those are my challenges for today. And now, Donna, this is where we give our co-hosts a time to share how people could reach out to you. It's also a time to share the information on where they can purchase your book and to give the listening audience your last words.
Okay.
So you have the floor.
Okay. My website is voracept.com, and that's V as in Victor, O-R-E-C as in Charles, E, P as in Paul, T as in Tom.com. You'll see the different things you can do to get a life coach and what you need, and you can look at that and call me about life coaching and let me help you find you. And my IG is Voracept 1908, and I'm not good with these social media. My Instagram is the same, Voracept 1908. So
Got you.
In the book, you can buy the book on the website, as well as Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Okay. Any last words you want to say that you want to communicate or leave our listening audience with?
Take care of you. So important. And it's okay not to be okay.
I love it. Love it. Let me add something to a quote that you put is, I want to pull something out of your book. And you said, I never lose. I either win or I learn. Now that was the biggest impact for me in the book as far as your quote. So I want to throw that out there too. All right, Keela, any last words before we say goodbye to the audience? She said no. All right, listener audience, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you tuning in with us on every episode. Until next time, peace and blessings.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Conversations with the Royal Empress. Tune in next week for another enlightening conversation. For more information on the Royal Empress, please visit the website royalempress.org. You can also follow the Royal Empress on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Conversations with the Royal Empress is a subsidiary of the Royal Empress organization. All rights reserved.